of matches this weekend on Saturday and Sunday for the TELUS Esports Series 2 here on Northern Arena. I'm Vaudable. We got Trevor Adu with the nose yet again. We have some top-level action this time. 3 advanced matches, rounding off the regular season with an elite match as well. It's going to be great, Trevor.
It is going to be wonderful. Just as heads up, advanced matches, that is Diamond and below, and elite, of course, SSL, just to give you an idea of what that means. And what that means in a broader sense, the games today are going to be incredible, Vaudable.
It's going to be great. Some great competition to round out a great TELUS Esports Series 2, leading all the way up to those back-to-back 2 days of competition for all of the different divisions. There's 4 different divisions that are out there: the Elite, Advanced, Intermediate, and Beginner leagues, and $35,000 worth of prizing that is on the line for all of these leagues, split in kind of different fashions. 21,000 of that prizing for that Elite League, because they are the best of the best.
They are absolutely phenomenal. It is SSL, Supersonic Legend, to Champ 1 in that Elite division. Going down to the Advanced division, you are looking at Diamond and below. Intermediate division, Plat and below. And the Beginner division is Silver and below. You mentioned the prizing, as you said, $21,000 for the Elite division. Ooh. Advanced is $6,000, $6,750. Said that a little backwards, but that is for the Advanced division. For the Intermediate division, you're looking at $2,250 in prizing, mind you. I kind of glossed over that in prizing.
Of course,
and Beginner division, $600 in prizing. So every one of these divisions getting a nice little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow here.
It's pretty good, and I believe that's for the top 3 teams that make it out of their playoffs. To make it into the playoffs, you have to get top 16 in your specific league, which is, again, we talked about the 4. Go back a few seconds and see exactly what those were: Elite, Advanced, Intermediate, and Beginner. I did it for you. There you go. But before we start tonight, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge that our participants and our viewers live and work across many territories and treaty areas within North America. We are grateful to the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are with us today, those who have gone before us, and the youth that inspire us. We have provided a link in the chat for you to take a look at to see what territories and treaty areas you reside in. Native-land.ca is the website for that. Also, the TELUS Esports Series 2, proudly presented by Nanoleaf. You can see some of their panels right behind me just there. They are changing the world with the most innovative smart home solutions that transform ordinary experiences into extraordinary ones. See, I'm already having extraordinary experiences with my Nanoleaf panels, so that's why I had to say that first. But also, another big thank you to our prizing sponsors that are helping provide all this lovely prizing: HyperX and GameCon Canada, for providing the TELUS Esports Series with all the rewards for the top competitors of the league. Also, if you're in Alberta or British Columbia, just for those residents specifically, TELUS has a special partnership with Xbox that if anyone receives or who purchases the Optic TV package, it's Optic with a K instead of a C, not the typical esports one you are used to there. You could also add Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which allows you to access up to 100 plus high quality games, plus EA Play, and now Xbox Live Gold. Also, with TELUS partnering with Xbox, you could save bundling everything together. Internet, TV, and gaming is the most affordable way to get streaming and TV in one plan, where you can customize entertainment packages based on your preference. That includes Netflix, Crave, movies, HBO, and more. And the TELUS Optic TV offers hundreds of digital channels, including HD, radio stations, movies, multicultural channels, and more. And you can find out more of those links in the chat there. But with all that out of the way, it was a little bit of a breather for myself, but we got to get that out of the way so that we can get into our first match of today. We got the Post Knights versus Team Bouffon, which is like jesters, I've been told, essentially just the French word for jesters. And hopefully they aren't making too many jokes and maybe mistakes on the field, and take it as seriously as they can getting into this match, because it's down to the wire for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, we are in the final week of play before heading into playoffs, and that means when we look at the win-losses of these teams, it's going to be a little indicative, or fairly indicative. Sorry, dropped my phone there. That is unfortunate. Fairly indicative of the general skill level of these teams in comparison to their peers in the division. Now for Post Kings, we are looking at 1-5 in their scoreline, so 1 win and 5 losses so far. Not ideal. They definitely went in hoping for better, and their goal differential -6. So, you know, for losing 5 games and having a goal differential of -6 across those games, they're not losing by much. They're losing by 1 goal and at most 2 across their games. So it could be way worse, and they are going up against Team Bouffon, 2-4 again. Pretty close, not ideal, but a game goal differential of -4, so fair a bit closer. Maybe one of their wins was a bit of a blowout. And Post Kings hailing from Alberta, and Team Bouffon hailing from Quebec. Bit of almost a coast-to-coast matchup, not quite, a little more towards the center there. But this could be a close one. Both these teams having struggled throughout the season. This could be a bit of a chance for redemption.
True. I don't believe either of these teams might have a shot at that top 16. Maybe Team Bouffon with 2-4, depending on how some of the other teams finish out their matches. A lot of teams, not just tonight, are also playing their matches until we get to those final brackets that will be happening on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 1 Eastern time, specifically here in Canada. But without further ado, I feel like we are ready for the players to take the field themselves. So we'll tell our lovely admins in the background so that they can join. Hey, I mean, they somehow heard me. They must have been watching the stream or something as we get into the match. It is going to be Post Kings versus Team Bouffon. Both these teams looking to end off with a win for their week of competition. The 4 weeks of competition that have led up to this point for the TELUS Esports Series 2. The league is the advanced league that both of these teams are part of. As we mentioned before, Diamond to Plat is typically the range you expect to see these players. So not the top level of the competition, but not the bottom level of the competition. So we expect some ferocity, and hopefully we get our second ever Game 3, because again, these are all best of 3s that are on stream.
Best of 3s, and as we've seen in the past, if you win game 1, you're well on your way to getting a sweep, as Trix puts this past everyone with a nice little cut in the midfield, leading to a powerful shot across both goaltenders and the third player streaking back to the goal line.
What a touch that was, too. Very difficult for the defense to really react in time for it. Maybe weren't quite warmed up and ready after the first 30 seconds of competition in this series, but now they have to be woken up. It was cold water splashed in their face, and now they're angry, and hopefully that will be something to fuel them to get their first goal. Otherwise, they'll be down by 2, and it was very close to becoming that way.
Almost a second goal indeed. What a great midfield pass. Unfortunately, no one on the field quite ready for that. Pineapple Fish with a touch past 1. They might go for a follow-up here, but it looks like they're low on boost as they tap that out into the midfield. Light touch to the side from Trix. Jay the Goat just going to grab their boost, cycle back, and hopefully keep this from being too threatening. Axe Tag is now low on boost. That was just taken by Jay the Goat. Trix is just going to wait behind this ball. They beat 1. They're going to grab that midfield boost and go up high on the sidewall. They're taking it for an air dribble, heading towards the net. That's off the back wall, almost getting the double touch into the net.
Whew. Very close opportunities back to back for Team Bouffon, but it's still not enough for them to get a comfortable lead with that second goal that they are vying for. I believe we are on a US East server, so that does benefit Team Bouffon a little bit more, but that's typically what we have been doing here at the TELUS Esports Series 2. Nonetheless, Post Kings doing the best that they can. Got their first shot on the board there by Pineapple Fish. They need more than that in the next half of this game, plus at least another 30 seconds till we get to that point.
Now, to kind of go a little broad in the analysis here, not specific to this game, something that I really love about these advanced games where it is Diamond to Plat players, you can have one player just completely take over the game. Just due to 1 or 2 mechanics that they excel at, whether that is dribbling with the ball or just their aerial speed. That alone at this level can completely skyrocket your chances of winning as a team. Now, so far, it's been a little more even in terms of how much each individual on the team is contributing, but that's not a bad thing. That just means these teams are both very evenly matched.
Especially with the differences I spoke about before with the ping. Right now, seems like about 84 is the lowest for Pineapple Fish, and then The rest of Team Bouffon doing pretty good as far as their connection to the game itself. 40 is the maximum, so even with that disadvantage to ping, and I feel like at this level it's not really too much because you don't have those minuscule adjustments you need to make to be like the best of the best at the game itself. When you're maybe SSL and you have that big of a ping difference, when there's very small differences, it's a big difference there. But Tricks, again, making a big difference for their team here. The second goal on the board for them.
Pineapple Fish getting a little too close on the back wall, so they weren't they were unable to cut off that pass that just dropped down in front of the net. So unfortunately, just not quite the right positioning, and that pass was very well placed to sneak by them and present a fantastic scoring opportunity to their teammate. Kind of cycle back to the ping point you were talking about. I really do think that it is a bit of an excuse for some players, because I have played so many ranked games against players from Brazil and they're playing with like 200 ping and I am getting destroyed by them, beaten to every touch. I mean, as long as you're used to it, you can absolutely play around it.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's the great thing about playing in an online environment too, is you have to worry about that, but you also have to worry about these open nets of your Team Bouffon, because right now they are the ones who have a joke being played against them, and unfortunately they don't have an answer whatsoever. We did see Jay the Goat try to rotate back in time to get the save, but no speed in the world. Even going supersonic will save that from going in.
Yeah, poorly timed double commit from Team Bouffon, as two members of the team went for the challenge, and the third, being Jay the Goat, was rotating back in nearly the same exact spot. So practically a triple commit opens up a fairly empty net. Now, Axe Tag nearly finding the midfield pass, but Trix is able to cut back into the ball and keep control with a fantastic pass into the middle of that net. Axe Tag ready and waiting for that one.
Beautiful setup by Trix. And you mentioned it before. I mean, we've seen 4 weeks of competition at this point. We kind of know what we were talking about, even without anything else experience-wise in Rocket League. When we see one player excel, they continue to do that in the first game and typically ends in a blowout, especially in the Advanced League. Then maybe gets a bit closer in the next game. If it goes the other way, where it's really close to the first game, then there's a blowout in the second one. It's no difference to either of these teams, it seems like, but this one staying close, especially because Pineapple Fish leading the charge yet again. They got the first shot for their team of the post nights. Well, they got the second goal here to bring them within one.
Yeah, very awkward scenes on that near post as Jay the Goat and Trix, they get a little bit caught up, neither of them knowing who should go for that ball, and as a result it allows Pineapple Fish to just swoop on in there and grab a nice touch into the corner and a follow-up. Now only one goal disadvantage for Post Kings. Center touch here, Jay the Goat gets there and it just ricochets off of Axe Tag. Trix taking it high up into the corner. They might get a second goal here, or at least a 2-goal lead. Past one, Axe Tag not finding the angle. 0 seconds left on the clock, and it hits the ground. Team Bouffon just get that win after a very shaky goal to close things out.
Very close there at the end of it, but Team Bouffon, they were able to prevail at the end of the day, or at least the end of that game specifically. Looking at the stats there as well, Trix, 5 shots, 2 goals, definitely doing the most work for their team. 444 score, which is just nuts to think about at this level of competition. Pineapple Fish not far behind though, 428 with a goal and assist, 3 saves, and 2 shots. They were doing all that they could for their team to keep the competition going in game number 1. But we'll see if any of the other players on post nights can help as much as Okedu did there themselves. They got the first goal for their team, kept the motivation going forward. Need to see a little bit more out of Mad Cows, maybe use that anger to push them forward to getting that third goal necessary. I feel like it will be for the second game.
So I kind of mentioned in the middle of the game how we didn't really see one player significantly step up and kind of carry their team. Think that turned out to be just a little bit false, as Trix stepped up big with their passing and even their shooting. So what that gives Post Kings a bit of a target to fix their crosshair on is to just demo the Trix, because that is going to be taking out a significant weapon in their arsenal. and it'll just make their job on offense, on defense so much easier. You're wiping out like a third of the competition. You get to steal their boost, set their boost back down to 32, 33, and it does wonders in so many sort of intangible ways.
We'll see what ways these teams struggle to come out on top at the end of this game. Will it be post-night, evening up the series 1-1? Or will Team Bouffon just make a joke out of the competition and send them home early, well, at least in this game? We'll see how things go here. Another 5 minutes on the clock, not even 5 seconds into this one. Tricks right off the board.
A beautiful bounce off that corner, and Trix is more than ready for it. They were already up on that sidewall, and as it bounced out into the center, nobody was ready to contest that shot. That is a rare kickoff goal to see in Diamond, just because of how difficult that shot is to take.
Hard to take, hard to read, but nonetheless, easy sink in the back of the net for Trix. The difference maker for sure in this game yet again. Looking to make his difference known in the first 30 seconds with 2 goals potentially on the board there. Not going to happen just yet, but still potential for another one in the opening minute of play. The pressure that we are witnessing from Team Bouffon is a lot stronger than we saw before. So maybe they're just getting warmed up themselves or holding themselves back a little bit, not wanting to overextend. As much as we saw that first goal go in from an overextension, the defense, they hoped that they could overextend for that one, but they can't, and it's 2-0 early.
Trix just taking it into the corner, and Mad Cows, their positioning was solid on the back wall, trying to prevent a nasty pass out into the midfield, but unfortunately just a bit of a botched shot, or maybe even a fake, lets that ball bounce up and kind of lob and throw off the timing of all the defenders as that ball just kind of falls across the goal line. Now, Pineapple Fish having to turn away from that. That lets Axtag take control, throwing it into the back wall, and a bit of an awkward bounce there as Jay the Goat flies into Trix. Pineapple Fish sending this downfield, but it is off target.
The first minute already gone here, and very difficult to come back from an early 2-goal deficit for Post Knights. Post Kings, excuse me. They need to be Knights defensively, it feels like, because they just keep letting in all of these opportunities we've witnessed in that first minute of play and haven't really had too much to save for. They've had a couple saves here and there, not much. There's a double commit that they need to capitalize on. Would have been great for Pineapple Fish to pick up that boost, continue their momentum forward, but instead they were frozen in their tracks after going up the corner wall, and there was nowhere for them to be bailed out from.
And even if Post Kings weren't able to immediately turn that around into a counter, Trix nearly doing it all on their lonesome. When the opponents mess up like that, you gotta at least get control of the ball, get control of the boost, and prevent continued offense. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough synchronization on the defense, that they were kind of struggling with what to do once they got control of the ball. So you can already see they're back stuck on a defensive cycle right now, not taking advantage of the opportunity they were given.
Almost at the halfway point of our second and likely final game with the way things are going currently. I believe it's Trixie now that I'm looking at the name fully. So Trixie, Trix, both of them kind of work for them, but they have all the tricks in their arsenal when they're trying to come out on top for their team thus far. 4 shots, 2 goals. Doesn't need to make any assists because they're the ones that are scoring. But as I say that, Jay the Goat and Axtag working spectacularly with their teammate Trixie to get that. She had all these goals, and Axtag, speaking of them, they got one themselves.
What a shot. Trixie just going across the goal line, realizing they're not going to be able to get a goal, and if they don't at least put their car behind that, that is getting cleared way downfield. But their teammate Axtag also recognizes that, so they don't commit, they don't try and even go for a shot. They let that challenge happen on the goal line, and they are ready for that ball to ricochet off the sidewall and back into a dangerous location with a well-placed shot. Now 2 minutes left on the clock, down by 3 is Post Kings. They do have a bit of a chance on offense here, but as time just dwindles down, it is going to be harder and harder to bring things back.
Post Kings need a miracle right now for them to try and come back from this 3-goal deficit. Even the best teams in the world struggle at that point, but as I say that, the miracle is fleeting at best as it goes by the wayside, off the post and away, no follow-up in sight. Instead, they follow the ball back to their own half.
Trixie with a great cut on that mid-air pass. Oh, the bump is well limiting any offense from Post Kings. They cannot catch a break right now. Axe Tag trying to sneak it under one, but Trixie, or Trix, maintain control of this ball. They are low on boost though, nearly faking out the opponents, and they let that ball go and collect more boost. Trying to go for an air dribble is Trix. However, that ball gets away from them, but only for a moment. This offense is relentless, Vaudable.
It is insane to see how they are able to put the pedal to the metal. But as I say that, okay, the way that they were able to score that first goal for their team represented a chance for them to come back in the game, in the series, and they need that now more than ever in the last 30 seconds of this game and potentially this series as well. They do well defensively to keep the ball in their possession, and the pinch actually works in their favor. They need the follow-up. It's an open net opportunity, but neither of them can score it. Neither can the third man, and it goes by the wayside again.
That is tragic. It doesn't even matter that Team Bouffon doesn't score on that counterattack. But look at that time. They're down by 3. Post Kings have 10 seconds left on the clock. They needed to put that goal home, and now it is just all but impossible. The game is over. This is a 2-0 sweep for Team Bouffon.
Wow, what a victory by Team Bouffon. I was mentioning that they have a chance, depending on how things go with the rest of the matches during their specific league, to come out in that top 16 to make it into the playoffs. So with this, they are now 3 and 4. So potentially, we haven't looked at the standings completely, so we don't want to lead you astray, but they have a chance, likely, to try and make it there, depending on how the rest of things go. But they looked really strong there, especially with Trixie. But we'll see how they fare the rest of the competition and who actually in the advanced league is going to make it all the way to those playoffs. It's going to be some great competition. We just had some great competition there. Another quick 2-game series, but still solid performances across the board. Even Post Kings, they were so close. If they got both those goals, they would have been one away yet again into tying things up.
Yeah, so many close opportunities, just not capitalizing on the opportunities that they were given. And at the end of the day, you can say, oh, it was so close, we had so many chances, but finishing those chances is half the game. And if you're not doing that, then, you know, the outcome is it's a little harsh to say, excuse me, but it's kind of what you deserved in that game. You weren't able to put the ball in, and unfortunately now that's a loss.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, especially in the TELUS Esports Series 2. We still have 3 matches to go tonight, 2 more of the Advanced League ones, and rounding out the competition for the regular league play season will be an Elite League matchup. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back with some more TELUS Esports Series 2 in just a few. back. But before we get into our second series of the night, gotta give a big shout out to one of our prizing sponsors, HyperX, but also got to call out our survey because people love surveys, but we also love hearing from you. Your feedback is very important to us and to TELUS. TELUS team is always focused on growing and improving when it comes to the TELUS Esports series. They want to hear your feedback so they can improve and bring back the league in a bigger and better way. So please take a moment, to complete the survey that was just posted in the chat. Thank you. And if you are playing in the TELUS Esports series, if you complete that survey, we will be drawing winners for some Xbox Series S consoles on Saturday and Sunday. So definitely look out for that. More incentive, of course, if you are participating, because you got a little bit of a different viewpoint than people who might just be watching the TELUS Esports series too. But that's enough watching us talk. Let's watch this matchup because it's going to be GENETEC or GENETEC, depending on how they want to pronounce, and Qucamole, which I love that name a lot.
That is a very nice name. I love Qucamole. Now, GENETEC, GENETEC, not sure on the pronunciation, I'm sorry, but they are 3-3 in the advanced division. So a quick reminder, that is Diamond to Plat 1, and they're in Pool 1 of that division. They are 3-3, as I mentioned, with a -2 goal differential. So when they're losing, they're not losing by much. I mean, they're tied in their series score. They're only down by 2 goals in the differential. It's not bad. And they are hailing from Quebec, and they are up against Qucamole, who are 1-6. Not ideal. Oof. I'm sure GENETEC isn't too upset to be hearing about that. But they are -9 in their goal differential, so the stats are not in their favor, and they are from Alberta as well, unrelated to the stats. I'm sorry, that might have sounded disrespectful. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry, but the stats suggest that this might be a one-sided match. Of course, anything can happen, but I'm just saying, in the last 7 games for Qucamole, things only went in their favor one time.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just need that one time, and a broken clock is right twice a day, so maybe this will be the second time that Qucamole can mess up the competition as best as possible for them to come out on top. But we'll see what is going to be going down in this game once the players take the field. They're always so eager to get into the game initially, but then they take their time and to get into the match after we set everything up properly. But it's okay. GENETEC, GENETEC, whatever it's called, the blue team versus the orange team, Qucamole. It's going to go down in a best-of-3 right now.
They are in the server. Game is getting started. Countdown is about to start. This is going to be exciting. I mean, again, another diamond game. Anything can happen. It can either be a team effort or just one player taking over the entire lobby, and it is going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be a great one. Even in the first 10 seconds of competition here, we'll see exactly what both of these teams are about. Not as quick of goals as we saw in the previous game, especially with that 5-second stunner.
True.
We'll see what we can witness from a team that's 1-6 and a team who's even Stevens in their scoring right now. And, well, they get the first one on the board here. Assert Killer is asserting their dominance on offense.
And an unfortunate clear by Fuzzy Wuzzy. Love that name, by the way. Ball just goes over their head, but unfortunately not to safety. So Assert Killer approaching the ball. They have a difficult angle to shoot on net with, but clearly they are more than accustomed to it as they put that on target past the goaltender. Fluffies taking it into the corner and getting control of it as they drive behind it in the midfield, getting a 50-50. And Gossman wins 2 50s of their own to put themselves on offense. Vandar up on the back wall. Fluffy's missing the clear. Oh my goodness, it is chaos in front of the goal line as Assert Killer finds a second.
Oof. Well, every time we typically see one player coming out on top, but it wasn't just Assert Killer doing all of the work there. Vandar was able to get a stellar setup themselves to set their team up for success. I always like to check the tags for these teams, especially around the advanced level, to see how well they are feeling when it comes to tournament level competition. Well, Vandar and Gossman 123 on a GENETEC, they both have different season diamond rank tournament winner statuses. But also on the other side, Fluffies with 3 Fs on Qucamole has one themselves. So we'll see if that player steps to the plate for their team. There's a lot of fluffy and fuzziness happening on Qucamole, it seems, with their player names.
Very cute names, to be sure. And then Assert Killer, who's violent now. Assert Killer not quite getting the shot. And that leaves Gossman to challenge this ball, which they win cleanly. This ball drops in front of the net, but no one is there to capitalize from the side of GENETEC. And they're putting that in front of the net, and Assert Killer grabs a little touch off of the back wall. Another double commit coming through. This could be a chance here for Qucamole to tie things up as they grab a bump onto Evander. This ball is in the midfield, but unfortunately, Fluffy's just missing contact with that ball.
Almost at the halfway point of this game, trying to see exactly what we need from Qucamole here. Qucamole. Keep on saying Qucamole. I mean, both kind of work. They got Quack in their tag. It's always nice to see these teams having their own specific. Is it clans in Rocket League? I can't quite remember because I'm not a part of one of the clubs. That's it. Well, the club of goal scoring is all in the favor of Assert Killer. A hat trick to their name now.
And this is a high-level goal steal. Look at that. Gets the pass, lands on the goal line just to steal that from their teammate. That is A1 goal stealing. You'll love to see that unless you are on my ranked team. Then do not ever do that.
You heard it here first, folks. Don't steal the goals from dude with the nose, because he will know when it happens and he will resent you for it just a little bit. But it's all in good fun here. But hopefully we can see a goal, some more offense, a shot even coming out of Qucamole. Again, we mentioned it before with the difference in series placement, I guess you could say, with the way that they've been performing so far. 3-3 for GENETEC and 1-6 for Qucamole. This is kind of what we expected going into this game, but we do see our first shot from Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy, TTV. Check them out. You want to see some stellar action there, but one shot on the board. Need a bit more than that for their first goal, though.
Yeah, it was a fairly impressive shot. Difficult angle to generate that much power on it, but unfortunately, it's not enough. You can't expect a single good shot to get through. A well-timed demo from Assert Killer comes through. He tosses his ball into the corner and don't even look at the ball anymore. It's not their problem. Their eyes are targeted on the players in net. They take out one, and just the smoke pluming is enough to obstruct the vision of the other. So a fourth goal coming on the board here. Assert Killer having a hand in all of them.
Have an assist to their name, a save, 2 shots. They have 3 goals and 2 shots. That's interesting. Don't see that too often.
It's impressive.
Very impressive, but that's just the way things go sometimes, based on if you get a touch that doesn't directly count as a shot, it still goes in somehow. We saw that happen, I believe, with that goal steal. We mentioned it before, but Evander also doing well for their team, got an assist on their name. So the entire team of GENETEC, it seems that the Quebec Rocket League scene pretty strong for what we've witnessed in these 4 weeks of competition. But are they the best? We'll find that out this weekend specifically, but still need to find out if there is a chance for a goal here on the side of Qucamole. They've had a solid shot from Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy. Paul Shaw trying their best as well to support them on offense, and Fluffy's more sticking to defense and assisting their team where they can, but the rotation's a little bit too wide for comfort. But you might as well go out with a bang if you're going all out on offense in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, they have to go all out on offense here. What is a 5th goal on the board? It does not matter. And even if you're not going to win this game, I would just love to see a goal on the board to show and generate some confidence. That is not going to generate confidence going into game 2. Fluffy's missing a clear on the back wall, and Calshall going up there on the back wall with them. That is a bit of a not really a double commit, but they're getting in each other's way. You want to see them spread the field a little more. Each player kind of has their role on defense in terms of what they're covering, and that just wasn't the case there. I would love to see that get cleaned up heading into game 2.
First game down, looking pretty good for GENETEC, 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 you know. It doesn't matter what you
toss-up.
call them. Right now, we are calling them the victors of game number 1, where we are still looking to see a little bit more out of the other side of Qucamole. They got a great name, but they need some great offense. They want to bounce back in game 2 and force a game 3 for potential their second win of the league play season itself for the TELUS Esports Series 2. But, I mean, we saw some flashes of brilliance, you could say, from that team. Some good looks on offense, choosing their battles wisely. It's just the rotations maybe not the strongest, but also Assert Killer just living up to their name, being insane, killing the competition, and asserting their dominance on offense, like I mentioned from that first goal. 4 goals, 3 shots, as I mentioned, still weird. 1 assist and a save on the board. Better than 100% shooting percentage there specifically, and also participation. I think they participated in like every goal almost.
Yeah, I mean, they were absolutely ridiculous, and that is just the effect that such a dominant player like that can have in the server. I mean, speaking from personal experience, I think when you describe a player like that, the first person that comes to mind to me is like Justin, just a ridiculously good pro player. His mechanics, excuse me, were out of this world, so far above the competition that their effect on the server is making everybody kind of panic and slow down when they have the ball, because it makes everyone else second guess. And I think we're seeing that here with Assert Killer.
We'll have to see after that kickoff what the team of Qucamole can do here. They gave up that midfield boost. Made it much more easy for the other side to maintain their possession of the ball and keep the momentum moving forward on offense for themselves. Not have to worry too much about a potential counterattack. There was no defense in sight after that. Great play from Gossman. Got their first goal on the board last game. The only other player other than Assert Killer to get one at all from both sides of the pitch. We'll see if that changes in this second game, but right now not looking too swell for Qucamole. They've been stuck in their half. They finally break out in the first 50 seconds of play. Looking a little bit better, a little bit more confident than we saw in the previous game.
A little bit better, but I would love to see Qucamole stay on offense here for a sustained period of time, because that is the name of the game. Right now, I can see Fluffy's waiting way back, and that's going to allow a player like Assert Killer to grab some boost. Now, a good challenge by Fluffy's and beating another, but it's just Fluffy's here on offense. I gotta see some rotations. I gotta see the players of Qucamole supporting each other. This one crossing into the midfield, and it's a free clear.
That would have been a perfect time, as you mentioned, rotations for a second or even a third man to move up and take possession of the ball, get the challenge, at least get in the face of that open and clear opportunity, as we just witnessed. Boost again, not going in the favor, but there's a potential setup. Both players committed past the midfield. Won't be enough for either of them to get possession of the ball just yet. It's Fluffy's 2 extra Fs looking for their first shot. Potentially goal scoring opportunity. We've seen a couple of those here and there from Fluffies, even though they haven't been credited with a shot just yet, due to the defense. GENETEC looking pretty solid so far, but there's only been a single shot on the board from either team, and that's the one from Gossman, the first minute of play.
Now that one just squeaking by that far post. Calshaw with a nice clear into the corner of the blue half. Cycle out, and that Fluffy's going for a challenge. Unfortunately, they missed that, but the ball frees itself to Fuzzy Wuzzy. Now Calshaw, last person back, but you can see they are so far away. That's going to allow this mid pass to go off. Gossman again putting it just wide of the goalposts.
First half of game 2 gone, and as I say that, so goes the first goal as well. And who else but Assert Killer? Right past Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy, and they just assisted the enemy team. So unfortunate to see that happen, but it does happen to the best of them. Got the touch, was looking to maybe send it right into their teammates so they could hit it off the corner, but the odd bounce made it difficult for them to get the save, and they got a great save that time, even from an awkward angle. Somehow does not go in right off the kickoff.
A fantastic save from Calshaw. I thought that was going to squeak in for sure. Vandar having some trouble with this ball. Fluffy's getting bumped off the shooting angle, but Calshaw again getting involved. You love to see that. a minute ago, they might have been all the way back in their own net, but they got some confidence from that save and they pushed forward, found an opening, and put that one in the back of the net, tying things up.
Looking a lot better than that previous game. And we mentioned this in the last series. Usually in the Advanced League, when we see a blowout of a performance, it's a lot closer in the next one, but we're seeing a blowout out of the water from Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy right off of the kickoff. Fluffies gets it right past a good possession game, but Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy can't be stopped. Was he there? Was he anywhere? He was right where he needed to be for that goal. 2 on the board, unexpected, but appreciated, I would have to say, for Qucamole.
Absolutely. Now it's just holding on to this lead, which is going to be so difficult. Assert Killer is going to do everything they can to make the defense crumble. Gossman catching this ball, popping it up into the midfield, and Fluffy with a bit of a panicked challenge. Vandar taking it to the back wall, and Assert Killer has to turn around to get control of this ball. Fuzzy Wuzzy trying to clear it out. A little back and forth right now. Neither touch from either team is very powerful, but we do see a triple commit here as Gossman does get control of that ball, or at least gets it out of a dangerous spot.
That was a dangerous spot.
Wide.
This is a sticky situation to find yourself in as a defender. No boost, not really knowing when to challenge, but they get the challenge yet again, and Kalshal just saving the day defensively for this team. Even though they haven't been credited with it yet on the scoreboard, they are keeping their team in this with the lead that they have currently, and they only need to hold on for less than a minute's time. Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy can't get the connection that they were vying for, so they'll have to back off on the play and give it up to Fluffies. Kalshal, he got the first goal on the board, gave the confidence, which was enough for Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy, but not enough for Fluffies to get their first goal as well. Only a single shot has been necessary for both of these goals from Qucamole. 1 for 1 for both Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy and Kalshal, so maybe we'll be able to see another one from Fluffies to round it out for their team. Less than 30 to go, though. They just need to keep up this pressure.
They are doing a fantastic job of limiting any offensive chances from GENETEC. However, could have a chance here now as this ball centers itself into the midfield, but Gossman backflips. He does catch the ball and he's gonna go for a dribble. Beats one, gets a 50 on the second. Kalshal out of the position, but they do manage to get there in time as Assert Killer is gonna try and catch this and keep it up, but they are unable to do so. Against all odds, Qucamole ties up the series and forces a game 3.
Wow. I need to take a screenshot of those stats so we can talk about them as we go into our third and final game. A third game that, shout out to chat, they predicted it would happen, and especially in a 2-1 fashion there, so got to give them credit where it is due. But Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy, with that kickoff goal, cemented the victory for Qucamole there. It was a great finish from Kalshal to see between the lines of the defenders to get their first one on the board, and Fluffies really, as I mentioned before, that third player on the back, backing them up in the rotation, might not have the confidence on offense like the rest of the players, but at the beginning of this game, they were crucial to keep those offensive efforts up, got the follow-ups too, and weren't feeling fearful like they were in the previous game. See, on the other side though, Assert Killer, 1 shot, 1 goal, nothing other than that though, and you need to rely on players like that even more so when you get down to these dire situations where you're only down by 1.
Yeah, I was expecting to see a lot more from Assert Killer in that game, and they just didn't really have that effect that they had in game 1. Now, something I saw in that kickoff goal that went in, I mean, you can say that it's random because in the moment it feels like just a bad bounce and it's impossible to predict, but Gossman was cheating up on that kickoff. You know, they weren't the one going for that initial touch, but they were following very, very closely, and as a result they were unable to really adjust to where that ball bounced to. They were a little bit too close, and as a result, just that one bounce automatically makes it a one-on-one for the defender of GENETEC, and just being able to put that one on target is huge for Qucamole. So in the future, maybe it'll be a little bit more hesitant to cheat that closely on kickoff, and it would still be a tie game, and maybe it wouldn't even be in game 3, but here we are.
Here we are indeed, our second ever Game 3 of the TELUS Esports Series 2 stream, at least. There's been a bunch of them happening behind the scenes during the regular league play season itself. past 4 weeks of competition have led us to this moment. Now we'll see who is going to leave the field after the end of these 5 minutes and any extra time necessary to go to OT as the victor. Will it be the side of Qucamole ending up 2-6 at the end of the day, or will GENETEC be 4-3 or 3-4? We will have to see. But in the first minute of play, you can tell that GENETEC aren't feeling as confident as they were in the previous game. And really even the first game, they look so strong. They got the lead early. They even got the lead early in game 1 or game 2. And that wasn't enough either for them to get the victory.
Now, I do think a huge part of this change has to be Qucamole finding their confidence. Because in game 1, something that GENETEC was doing was allowing Vandar and Gossman to really just cycle together on offense and generate opportunities. And Assert Killer just kind of waited back and pushed forward when free shots were presented to them, just like this goal kind of freed itself up here. Fluffy's attempting a clear, but goes out into the middle of the field. Not a safe touch to make. That is prime shooting real estate.
And that last defender was a little bit too far into the back of the net. It was going right towards them, but they could not boost in time to get to the ball. I don't even believe they had enough boost to get there. So positioning a little bit off the mark there defensively. As I say that, there's just bumper cars going on on the box for the side of Qucamole. It's not going to be necessary for the other team to really worry about that. They got their 1 goal. That might be all they need, but it proved not to be enough in that previous game. So we'll see how long this lead stays. It's going to be Qucamole bouncing back, or if we see it strengthened by the side of GENETEC. As I say that, we almost saw it from Assert Killer, Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy, and company doing quite well for themselves defensively.
Alshal beating out 2 members of the offense. Fluffy's getting a bit of a weak clear once again. Want to make sure you're either keeping control of that ball or hitting it to the side where it's safe. Just a light touch into the midfield is going to immediately lead to a counterattack. Now, Fuzzy Wuzzy sending forward to Fluffy's. Gets ball off to the side where Fluffy's can collect boost and hit this ball high up into the midfield. Double commit coming through. This could be a chance here for Qucamole. Off to the side.
We're already past the halfway point of the final game of the series. There are no second chances for either side. They know how crucial this victory is, especially if you are the team of GENETEC, as they are looking for their 4th win. Might be enough to get them into the playoffs, and nobody's going to be getting into a goal-scoring position because everyone flies past that one, but Evander won't fly past the second time as they get their 2nd goal of the game and of the series.
Assert Killer with 2 phenomenal passes into the midfield. The first one, a very confusing series of bounces. I don't blame their teammate for not being ready for that shot, but the second one up high off the ceiling, bouncing right down into prime real estate. And Vandar putting that home for a 2nd goal here in game 3. He's looking like a clutch player right now.
Coming down to the wire yet again. We saw it happen in game number 1, and unfortunately for Qucamole, they were left lacking. As again, the ball almost goes freely into the back of the orange net, but it bounces out, goes the other direction, but nobody in the midfield to keep the pressure going, and that's just straight in. Nobody there again. Positioning has been the downfall for Qucamole.
Vandar with a great cut and rotation here. This ball is just free in the midfield, so they turn around quickly after collecting some midfield boost, and they just put that one on target. The goaltenders are out desperate for boost. They're hunting all over the field for it, and when they're busy doing that, this ball is just coasting towards their own net.
Almost just a minute remaining on the clock now before the inevitable, it seems at this point, for GENETEC to get the victory here. They got the 3-goal lead. We saw a similar situation in game number 1, and the confidence, it was great in game 2 from Qucamole, but it has been absent in game number 3. An open opportunity, but there's nobody on the follow-up of Vandar, who's the star of the show. for the blue side in this final game. Saves the day yet again for them. The only opportunity we've really seen out of Qucamole goes by the side. They're going to hope for a second helping of some offense soon with the last 30 seconds ticking down, and so do their chances.
Only 20 seconds now. Kalshal trying to get a touch into the midfield. The Gossman immediately pouncing on that. Fluffy's getting a challenge, but this ball ends up in the midfield of Vandar with the lightest touch, but it goes on target. Now 4-0 with only 12 seconds left. This was just a perfect delay by Vandar. Kalshal is behind that ball, but they don't have the touch. If Vandar rushes that shot, that's getting saved. That is getting challenged by the goalie, but they're patient. They wait for that ball to clear itself, and they find the barest angle.
10 seconds less than that now for time to tick down, and we will be crowning our victors of our second series of the night. It is going to be GENETEC coming out on top, and what a way to do it. They faced adversity by being forced to go to game 3 the first time in some time for them. They end off 4-3 for their season, at least for tonight. Looking pretty good for themselves there, and hopefully they can get a couple more wins before the end of the week to guarantee themselves a spot in those playoffs. Again, as I mentioned before, top 16 out of each of the leagues will make it to their specific league's playoff this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But that is the end of the road for Qucamole. They could not get their second win just yet, so they end off 1-7 there. A solid finish for them, but they gave it their all. They made it into that third game. It just did not prove to be enough.
I did not expect this of all series to go to game 3. I mean,
exactly.
Look at the stats going into it. A team that's 3-3 versus a team that's 1-6, and yet Qucamole showing adversity and resilience, forcing that game 3. And game 3 was pretty close. That could have gone either way until Vandar really stepped up with, what was it, 4 goals? I mean, after game 1, we were really looking at their teammate Assert Killer to be the one to close out the series, but they just kind of sat back and they let Vandar, who was having a hot streak, continue things in game 3 and take them to victory.
So far in the TELUS Esports Series 2, the East is proving to be the beast in the league itself. We'll have to see if the Western region of Canada can perform as best as they can. This next matchup, our final advanced series of the night. Team Wash from Quebec versus the Plutonians from BC. You don't want to miss it, so we'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back, everyone, to the TELUS Esports Series 2. We are halfway through the competition tonight, on to our final advanced match of the week and also the regular season here at Northern Arena. Viable, we got Dude with the Nose or Trevor. And before we get into this matchup, we have to give a big shout out to one of our prizing sponsors, which is GameCon Canada, but also got to give you a healthy gamer tip. And we're going to circle back to the first week. Maybe you didn't tune into the other ones and you didn't get to hear our great tips. Well, the first tip for you is to hydrate. So that's what I'm doing right now.
My wonderful tip is something I've had to do plenty of times in my career. Sometimes you're playing ranked games, you're in a long session, and games just aren't going your way. You're molding a little bit. You know, you wouldn't admit it to your opponents, but you're getting a little frustrated. Just take a break. It's okay.
Take a break.
And take a little 5-minute, 10-minute walk. Clear your head. No big deal. You're not gonna miss out on the MMR. In fact, it's probably gonna save you MMR. So go take a walk, relax, chill out, and then get back to it when you're a little more calm.
And when we say take a walk, we mean like 30-minute walk and all that. No, yeah. I mean, it's as long as you really need. You can just like walk to get something from your fridge or whatever else. Just getting up and out of wherever you're sitting, or if you can, just making sure that you're being active in some way. I mean, you can have one of those like foot pedalers. You can have, I don't know, maybe those grip strength testers, so that you're just getting active in some way or fashion as best as you can. But we need to actively get into our third match of the day. It's Team Wash. We saw them, I think, the first week of competition, and they did not live up to their name whatsoever. I believe they're one of the top teams that are out there in the Advanced League currently. And the Plutonians, which is a family competing here as well, or at least they all know each other. Specifically, there's a husband and wife competing on that team and their best friend. So I'd call them a family there. But we'll see how they perform. Team Wash from Quebec and the Plutonians from British Columbia. I mean, the way things have been going, it's not been looking good for anyone who's from a province that is not Quebec.
Yeah, a little bit biased there in the signups. All the good players are coming from Quebec. I mean, Team Washed 6-0. That is a ridiculous scoreline. I mean, not dropping a series is just
going
impeccable.
To the playoffs. We already know it. I mean,
yeah.
It's like we don't even have to think about that. They are going to be playing this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, this game is primarily for seeding. Even their goal differential, they are a +10. They have scored on their opponents 10 more times than they have been scored on. And doing that in 6 games is remarkable. Now, again, over to the Plutonians, they are 2-3. Again, a little middle of the road in the pool. It's not too bad. They could tie things up here in this series. But, I mean, as we mentioned, that is going to be a bit of an uphill battle going up against Team Washed.
#1 team in the Advanced League, I believe, based on what we have seen from a Team Wash. So we'll see how the best of the best goes against the rest in this series. Once the players take the field, we can take you into our third match of the day. And as I say that, they all get ready and get locked and loaded for our first game of this best-of-3 series. We'll see if we get another one. We haven't had 2 in a night, and we've had a 3-game series. Hopefully this time we do. And the Plutonians, they're going to have their work cut out for them against the best in the East in Quebec. Team Wash, we got Bendesh, we got Pixnum, and Zyrox back on your screen from the first week of competition. They showcased the stellar performance. I think they got like over 10 goals in one of those games. So that's why their goal differential is quite insane for the competition. We'll see if it continues that way. But hey, Supersonic Squire looking pretty solid there. No assistance needed.
Awkward save here for Pixnum. That goes off the post, and a great follow-up from Megumi. I did not expect that to happen. You assume that's just going to be a light touch to the side from Pixnum, but that placement of the initial shot just bounces off the post, and instead of going wide, it just hits the angle to generate a dangerous rebound. As now Plutonians, the underdogs, grab an early lead in game 1.
So I hate to out myself as a fellow weeb, but Megumi, I believe, is a character from an anime. So I am probably going to bet that that is the wife that is on the Plutonians team here. We'll see if that is the case, but they're looking pretty solid for their first goal in the game against the best team in the Advanced League. They are hoping to channel that energy as much as possible. They need your support in chat as much as well for them to take on the Titans that are Team Wash. You get a stellar save, but it might not prove to be enough. A demo comes out as well, picks them. There's nobody in net. Even that doesn't matter if you have a shot going by the wayside the way it just did.
And Dash, just a light touch, bit of a back pass happening, and unfortunately clear does not come through. Takes them forward to Bendesh. Nice infield passing, but it gets cut off by Megumi. Now Bendesh on the ball once more, trying to center things, but Coughlin keeps that aside. Now Supersonic Squire eats in a double commit. Zyrox on the ball, gonna try and center it, and it bounces up into the ceiling for a clear from Coughlin. Triple commit as all three blue members are on the wrong half. Megumi trying to get a shot on target, but it's just not hard enough.
Not the way we really expected the first 2 minutes to go in this game, but Team Watch, they are already doing so well for themselves, 6-0 as far as the series are concerned. That 10 game differential, as I believe that is what you were mentioning too, looking pretty solid, but not solid enough for them to get that first goal. Might have it here. They get it off the backboard. They aren't over eager to push. It feels like in this first half of play, they're waiting for the moment to be the time necessary, and that seemed to be it, but there's no one on the follow-up. That's been happening left and right for Team Wash.
So close. Bendesh has to rotate back in. They stole boost. Unfortunately, they don't get contact. Zyrox off the sidewall and picks them. They don't see much being generated here, so they're waiting back. Zyrox on the ball once more, circling around, trying to find an opening here. Take it for a midfield dribble, or an air dribble, excuse me. Coughlin, the touch to the sidewall, over to Megumi. Megumi back to Coughlin, but it's a little bit awkward. Squire gets challenged out by Pixnum. Pixnum could have a chance here to center it, and Zyrox not finding the angle to get a shot off.
Bendesh might have had something there, but didn't have any boost to back themselves up when they were going for the push, so they had to give it back up. Staying a little bit too long on offense might be to their detriment, it seems, in this first game, but not that time. A great setup by Zyrox, the finish by Pixnum with the slot.
Zyrox with a fantastic choice to throw this into the corner. I mean, there are three defenders ready and waiting in the net. Putting that on target is just going to be a loss of ball possession, but they choose to throw it into the corner, and the ensuing shot is powerful from Pixnum, just finding that near post with a laser beam.
Laser beam it was, but there was a double commit that time. No boost for Coughlin. A great setup and a great shot afterwards, but it goes off the crossbar. They're wanting that one back, but that is the best that they could have come up with as the situation developed. Bendesh been kind of left and right, it seems, in this first game, and really need to step up to the plate for their team. Zyrox seemed to be the strongest contender for MVP for their team the first time we saw them, and almost saw it there again. 3 shots now on the board with their assist, but nothing in the terms of goals, which matter the most. One last defender in Coughlin still keeps them in this game, and the coordination that we are witnessing from this Plutonians team is great, and definitely something that they can write home to their families about.
Double commit coming through here from Plutonian, but it's not too dangerous. Squire stays on the ball, and Bendesh gets beat out. Pixnum just getting into the near post in time to stop that ball, and Bendesh once more trying to get it clear here is Zyrox. Able to the midfield, Megumi and Squire waiting for this ball to land as it finally does, but gets a bump. Bendesh nearly finding a shot on target. Only 15 seconds left. The next chance could seal the deal here. Pixnum puts it on target. A weak clear. This needs to be a centering chance here for Pixnum, but they don't hit the ball. Zyrox trying to make something happen. Bendesh waiting for the clear as they get a touch. 0 seconds now. Now or never. Bendesh, but they're low on boost as we head into overtime.
First overtime of the stream tonight. We've had a couple here and there, but not as frequent as you would expect to see this upcoming weekend. Supersonic Squire done well defensively with their 2 saves, also on offense with the 2 shots we witnessed beforehand. It's going to come down to a mistake, I feel like, or really just a great shot from Team Washed. Zyrox waits for the ball into the corner, gave it up to Supersonic Squire. There is the opportunity right in front of them, got the challenge. Pixnum was quicker on the come up, so there's no chance in sight there. There is a chance here for Zyrox, and what a finish from the setup from the other side of the field.
Zyrox from out of the blue in everyone's blind spot, just beating out Squire and popping it over them. Coughlin unable to get back in time. They were desperate to make a save, but the timing just was not there on that powerful clear into a perfectly placed shot.
One thing I do want to note specifically about this series, and really the team of the Plutonians, is that they seem like a squad who have played together for countless hours. We've only had 4 weeks of competition for some of these teams that have been competing throughout the TELUS Esports series too. And that is evident in the play and the coordination we've witnessed. This time, the Plutonians, well, they might not have the mechanics to write home about. That's not what matters, because they are so coordinated. They each have 2 shots. Supersonic Squire and Coughlin each have 2 saves, and there's an assist and a goal from Coughlin to Megumi. So the way they are coordinating together might be their key to success if they can overcome the odds of beating the best team currently in their division in the Advanced League. Team Wash, they got those 2 goals in a stellar fashion, but a lot longer than we expected that to happen.
Yeah, this was not as one-sided as I was expecting. I mean, Plutonians even getting the initial goal, I believe, that was that could have been very dangerous for Team Washed if the Plutonians just had a bounce go in their favor that they were able to capitalize on. Could have been game 1 to the Plutonians, but unfortunately for them, that did not happen. But it was still a very, very close game, and I think it's going to give them some confidence going into game 2, even if they did not secure victory.
We'll see if things go the same way in this game, or if they change in the favor of the Plutonians, so that we can get our second back-to-back 3rd game in a best-of-3 series tonight. Otherwise, it might be Team Wash waking up even more so, as it seemed like they were not ready for coordination we witnessed out of the Plutonians. But as I say that, well, this is just the way things go. After there's a close game, there's a blowout.
Yeah, Supersonic Squire. It is an awkward bounce to read coming off that corner, but unfortunately, they just got a little bit too close to it, and as a result, they were unable to adjust to that bounce, and the ball just sails right by them for an early lead for Team Washed. Zyrox once more on the ball, putting it off the back wall. Bendash with a shot. Just goes past that far post, and again this gets centered by Bendesh this time. Zyrox chasing it down, ball frees itself for Pixnum, but they're last man back. They're playing patient, and eventually they turn in and challenge to maintain this offense. Bendesh, however, trying to center things, but it gets away from them.
First 40 seconds already gone in game number 2. They had that early goal, but not much after that on the side of Team Watch. They've had a shot from a Bendesh, as you were mentioning, and we see another one here. No! The positioning was so perfect from the Plutonians in game number 1. It just completely changed on a dime in game 2.
And Megami was afraid to challenge that ball, or challenge the shooter rather, because they knew they were getting beat cleanly, but they had a teammate behind them on that back wall, and I think if they challenge that ball, they don't have to win the challenge. They just have to cut off that far post and give the teammate behind them a much greater chance of getting the save. Instead, they turn back, they cause them hesitation, and that ball is freed up. Pixnum nearly finding another.
Oh, man.
Not getting out of the end of the Plutonians. This is dire.
This is more what we expected to see when we saw it was Team Washed, who are still undefeated, going off against another team who is close to being even Stevens with their record today, 2-3, getting into this matchup. So they got what is necessary within them talking about the Plutonians, to get some victories, more than one at least. But it looks like they are going to have to go back to the drawing board in game number 2. They got a demo, and maybe that's necessary for them to break down the walls. The defense of Team Washed, who have all the shots in their favor, 7 to their name to the 0 of the Plutonians the first 2 minutes of competition.
It has been relentless offense from Team Washed, and again, they're on their own end, but only for a moment as a clear comes through. Zyrox nearly getting the shot off, and Bendesh beats out Coughlin. This ball is dangerous. Coughlin in the air once more, but don't get the touch. Zyrox getting a demo over on the other half of the field, and that allows Bendesh to get this challenge as the offense remains. The gas pedal is floored right now, and Coughlin just trying to get it clear, so desperate to get this ball out. Supersonic Squire with a ridiculous save in midair on that goal line.
Whew. That's exactly what we needed to see from Supersonic Squire. They're getting their confidence back. They're moving together onto offense, getting some setups here and there. Team Washed, well, they did their laundry and they are looking clean as ever. That's exactly what they needed this time. Get those saves. Positioning's been stellar from them. Only really need one defender to contest with the shots that are coming out from Megumi. Supersonic Squire leading the charge yet again, right into the air, gets the drop down. It's not going to go the way that they were hoping. No follow-up either can be accounted on. Zyrox with a great shot right over top of Megumi. That's so unfortunate. 3-0, 135.
That is tragic. Zyrox just going for a clear, putting it on target, because why not? And Megumi not reading how much power's on that ball. They kind of slam on the brakes to get in the trajectory of it, but instead they had the time to give themselves a better angle by kind of driving back towards their own net and turning around into the ball. Unfortunately, they just don't hit that timing. As they jump, and it just sails past them over their head and into the back of the net. Could see a fourth goal here as Zyrox finds himself with so much free space.
So unfortunate there for Plutonians. They had an opportunity, and speaking of that timing, if it was a little bit better for Megumi, they would have had a goal and it would have been 3-1 instead. But the counterattack comes out. They put everything into that offensive attack. It was proved to be lacking something, at least lacking the timing, lacking positioning, maybe accuracy, things that just come with time. And right now they don't have that kind of time to come back from these 4 goals from what we have witnessed in the Advanced League. At least less than a minute to go, down by 4. There is hope, but as I mentioned before in the previous series, it is fleeting at best.
Zyrox, I mean, the bounces are just going the way of Team Wash. Zyrox with a mid-air challenge nearly at the ceiling height, and the ball ricochets towards another teammate of Team Washed. So when you're up against just challenges like that where it's headed straight towards an opponent, it feels so difficult to get your bearings as a team, but unfortunately that's what's required of you at this level. Bendesh putting the pass on Coughlin with a great touch to the side, even in an awkward position like that.
One thing we do need to talk about before the time hits 0 is that Team Wash together were able to get 17 shots compared to the 9 that they had in the previous game. They got taken to an OT and they were upset with that and showed it by going all out on offense, shutting down the Plutonians, keeping them to only a single shot to the 17. Let me remind you of Team Washed. Whereas in the previous game, the Plutonians kept it close, got that 1 goal from from Megumi, and had 6 shots total that time. So what a way to turn things around, Team Wash. They are not washed at all. I mentioned it the first time we saw them. That name, it doesn't really work for them because they have not lost a single series out of 7 now that they have played.
7-0, and as you mentioned, heading into this series, we've seen them before on the stream, And I don't even know. I think they played better this series than they did last one. And even the last one, they impressed us. I mean, this was a ridiculously good performance. And I mean, credit where credit's due. The Plutonians, if I had to guess, just based on that game, based on what we saw, I would place them better than a team that's going 2-3. I think, you know, they've been probably going up against difficult opponents like Team Wash that unfortunately just didn't go their way, but they also played phenomenally.
Phenomenal. Sometimes it's not enough for you to get the victory, but we do have one phenomenal series to go that is in the Elite League, our final one of the regular league play season. And after that, we'll talk about the schedule for Saturday and Sunday. You don't want to miss it. We will return in just a few. This is the final series of the TELUS Esports Series 2 League Play, at least, or the regular season, you can call it. Nonetheless, we are going to be seeing a great matchup here to round out the night. Two teams from the Elite League, the Dogs versus Tactical Whiffer. Before we get into that specifically, we do have to mention our sponsors. Gotta give a big shout out to our presenting sponsor, Nanoleaf. You can get some of their lovely panels and improve your home's smartness there specifically. And just customize it as much as you want. Let me see. I'm getting a phone call, but that's okay. They were wanting to also know about the Nanoleafs a little bit themselves, but you can change the colors, do whatever you want with them. It's pretty cool, and they can react to music. There's a lot of different functionalities there specifically. But enough about the Nanoleafs. We also want to say, hey, if you're participating in the TELUS Esports Series 2, fill out this survey in the chat. We want your feedback, and if you give us your feedback, you have a chance of winning one of two, I believe it is, Xbox Series S consoles this weekend during the playoffs. So definitely fill out that form if you have not already for your chance to win one of those, on top of any of the lovely prizes that are given to the top three from lovely providing sponsors, which is GameCon Canada and HyperX. Now, that's everything out of the way. Let's get into this last series. The Dogs and Tactical Whiffs. We saw the Dogs before, I believe. Might have even seen Tactical Whiffer as well.
I believe so, but the score lines for those teams have changed dramatically. The Dogs, middle of the road, they're at 3-4 right now. Again, just as a reminder, this is Elite Division, Supersonic Legend, top rank in the game to Champ 1, so it's a fair step up in terms of mechanics, in terms of game plan and overall team cohesiveness. But they are up against Tactical Whiffers, who are 5-2, putting on a bit of a clinic in their pool 3. I am pretty impressed excuse me, with Tactical Whiffers. I don't believe when we saw them it was that dominant of a performance. I might be mistaking, my memory might be mistaken, but I mean, they've clearly been doing well in their pool. 5-2 now. Their goal differential is +5, and just again, we've been bringing it up for every series. The Dogs hailing from Quebec and Tactical Whiffers from Alberta. Again, we've been seeing that matchup quite a bit. Battle of the provinces. I mean, after last series, when it was a team that's 6-0 to a team that is 2-3, it's changed by now, but I mean, bear with me here. Game 1 was a lot closer than I would have expected. With that in mind, I don't even know how to predict a series like this.
I feel like for this series, because in the different leagues, there's not much of a difference in ranks. It's like 1 to 2 different ranks. Here, it's like 3.
That's true.
There's champion, grand champ, and SSL. And that's a big difference between Champ 1, Div 1, and SSL. Even the top SSLs have a big difference than the bottom SSLs. So it's like, we'll see if this is a complete blowout or if it's going to be closer than we expect, just based on you don't face off against every opponent in your specific division, in your specific league. So who knows exactly what the competition was like for those specific records to get to this point in time. But we are at the point in time where we will ask our lovely admins in the background to let the players know to join their respective sides. The Dogs will be in blue, and Tactical Whiffers will be in orange. We'll see if Quebec gets the clean sweep and goes undefeated today on stream, or if Alberta has a chance in Tactical Whiffer, because their record does look pretty strong. Will continue to do so if they get that victory here, likely guaranteeing themselves a spot in the Elite League playoffs for that $21,000 worth of prizing given to those top teams this weekend. 5 minutes now on the clock. Another best of 3 is upon us, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's going pretty good for Tactical Whiffer. That is my analysis so far. Moxie grabbing a bump onto official Thanos, and that's really what opens things up there, and it allows Naughty to just fly in behind that ball and put an unexpected shot on target.
What a way to do it there. And Thanos was really the one stepping up to the most opportunities that were given to them in the last series that we saw the Dogs in. So hopefully they can lead their team to victory in some sense of the word. Looking at the tags, as I always like to do, we got 2 grand champs on Tactical Whiffers at least. That might be why they're doing so well for themselves. And well, this is another piece of evidence in that case that is being established in the first 30 seconds. And that is so unfortunate for the defense. They just got outplayed.
Yeah, official Thanos again kind of being bumped and messed with physically. They're going to try and catch that ball and take it for a dribble, clear it out of their own end, but patiently. Unfortunately, however, an attacker just cut in front of them, bumped them off that ball, and put it on target. Now a 2-goal lead for Tactical Whiffers. Naughty trying to put that on net as well. Thanos bats that aside. RP up in the air, getting the clear, but that is pinched right back into their own end by Mermaid. Right, floating around that ball, not able to land, but a double commit happens from the side of Tactical Whiffer. That allows Thanos to dribble this ball out. They steal the mid boost, and unfortunately that ball gets cleared once more. Mermaid finding the empty net after the challenges maybe a little prematurely.
Unfortunate spot to be in the first less than 2 minutes of play in game number 1. This is what I talked about before. This is the top league, but the rank disparity a lot larger than you would expect in some of the other leagues that are out there. Mechanics, of course, will be great. Oh, okay, and so will the passes. RP over the Knight for their first one.
RP was listening, Vaudeville, and he is not happy with what you said. He decided to take that ball all on their own, beat out one on the sidewall. Very difficult to kind of have your bearings when your car is sideways on the wall. And he just punts that out into the middle. Just a prime scoring opportunity for Knight, who capitalizes.
I like to apologize for that laugh that I just cackled because the gifts were just kept on giving, it seemed like, with the goals we have seen so far in the first half of this game. This is more of what we're used to seeing from the Dogs. They got it in them for them to hopefully come out on top. But as I said in previous series, these teams that are down by such a deficit have their work cut out for them. And it's just piling on with no sign of decreasing. Even though the time is ticking down, that just makes it that much more difficult to pull off that kind of a comeback. Luckily for them, they have nailed down their rotation for the Dogs. It might not be enough, especially with a double tap coming out from Mermaid.
Mermaid with a powerful touch to the back wall, beating out Knight, who was unable to get a follow-up. Thanos left in the dust, and that angle is nasty, putting that past the third and final defender just between them and the far post.
These players are crazy. Hat trick already for Mermaid in the first half of play, as we are finally getting to that second half. It feels like a whole game has gone by at this point. How much more eventful it has been with the goals. It's been a struggle so far for the Dogs, but they still have a chance to come back. Plenty of time that is on their side. But you blink and you miss it. It's not going to last long enough. They keep going back to their side and don't have an answer for any of these challenges that are coming out from their opponents. RP is cherry picking, gets the boost as well, makes it difficult for Moxie to find a way out, but as I say that, they don't even have to worry because nobody challenges them.
The offense and overall cohesion, it's a little bit disjointed from the Dogs right now. You can see RP going for an air dribble off the back while Knight's able to follow, and I guess that's enough. But Thanos nowhere to be found if that is saved. However, I mean, I guess I can't complain, and neither can the Dogs, as they find a second, now a 2-goal deficit, and with a minute 45, that is more than surmountable.
Knight is just chomping at the bit, as you can see with their goal explosion. And they just had the perfect time for them to rise to the challenge and get that second goal for their team. RP, patience was their virtue there, but odd challenge coming out from Knight. Just gave this goal away almost, but it's being given away yet again by the offense.
So many chances for a goal there. Unfortunately, the shot just not coming through. that would have been a 5-2 scoreline. Could still be that Knight not getting the challenge, and as a result, Naughty with such an awkward shot, bouncing that down, and it just ricochets back up into the top left corner. That is so difficult to read.
Tough position to find yourself in, down by so many goals, and a 3-0 deficit, just chalk that up to a bad game, I feel like. 5-2, you know you have it in you to get those goals and are still being outplayed, and really more mistakes than anything else like we saw there. Missed timing. It's gonna make them miss the ball yet again. RP, Knight, Thanos, nobody get a connection with it other than Moxie. 6-2, 1 minute to go.
This is all but over in name. I mean, 4 goals, sure, it is technically possible, but I just don't think it's going to happen. It is going to take an absolute miracle. I mean, all 3 members of the Dogs are going to have to step up with ridiculous individual plays and really get that passing together. And so far, 15 seconds have passed, and that has not been the case yet. In fact, it might have gotten a little bit worse.
I've just stopped writing down the goals at this point. There's been so many, and this is exactly what I talked about, the potential for what can happen in these games based on that disparity. I know I said that last time the Knight got a goal, but it wasn't enough for them to come back. And now we see the evidence on the scoreboard itself. 7-2. Doesn't look like that'll be the final scoreline even then. We still have more than 30 seconds. Now just that to tick down before this first travesty of a game is over. 20 seconds now, though. Maybe 1 goal to write home about. If we see one coming out from the Dogs, it'll be enough to motivate them to get their act together and unleash the beast within in game number 2. Because right now, instead of being, say, pit bulls or dangerous beasts of prey, well, Thanos was waiting for them to get awoken, become awoken, and they did that right there. 3-7, not what we wanted, but hey, a final goal in 0 seconds, we'll take it.
That's just how we wrote it up in the playbook. You want that last second goal going into game 2. All the confidence is back in your favor. Clean slate, last goal wins. Unfortunately, not the case. Tactical Whiffers taking that 7-3. They're now 1-0 in the best of 3. And I mean, with 7 goals on the board after getting the first series, you can only imagine that I mean, game 2 is going to feel a little bit easier after you've kind of established dominance. I mean, as we've seen in previous games, once you get the opponents to kind of second guess themselves and hesitate on every challenge, it just becomes easier and easier and easier to get the touch you want. You know, the challenges are just that little bit slower, and it frees up those passing lanes and those shooting angles. And I expect we'll see an even more dominant performance from Tactical Whiffers headed into game 2.
Well, we have to see if the Dogs can shut down Mermaids specifically. 4 goals, 1 assist, and 6 shots. They are the reason that they were able to get that victory, because otherwise it would have been tied. So if they can somehow demo them, keep them out of the play, whatever way they need to, then they might have a chance in game 2 to get into that 3rd and final game and potentially get the victory out from underneath Tactical Whiffers. Right now, the Dogs need to be Tactical Sniffers, sniffing out those goals and seeing what they need for that first one on the board, because that will be crucial for them to come back in this series.
Little back and forth right now. RP on that sidewall. Mermaid with a ambitious jump from the boost pad. They decide to rotate out and let Moxie challenge. Now Mermaid back in the net, waiting for this to come through. And Naughty with a bit of an awkward pre-flip slows down Mermaid from challenging. RP with a full tank of boost and an air dribble, unfortunately not finding the touch as that gets batted aside by Moxie, and mutual demolition coming through from RP onto Moxie. Mermaid beating out one, tries to get a centering touch. They're coming off the ceiling. Naughty with an awkward angle, nearly sneaks that into the top corner, but it bounces far and away back into the orange end.
First minute of competition, a lot different than the previous game, as we already seen a couple goals at this point in time. As I say that, Moxie almost able to get one right off the post and out. RP saves the day with a stellar clear. And they need more where that came from. So we see another great initiative by them. Oh, almost off the crossbar and in. Great touch by Knight. Another one by RP, and Mermaid almost own goal, but luckily enough for them, the post is on nobody's side.
Mermaid, as you mentioned, nearly own goaling, but they did just get there in time. However, they're still stuck in their own end. Thanos up to the ceiling. RP able to follow Mermaid with an awkward flip, puts it over Moxie. Can the shot come through? It's off the backboard, and Knight unable to put that on target, but the offense remains. RP goes in, but they're beat out clean by Mermaid, and that's forward to Moxie. Moxie beaten one. That is off the back wall and over to safety in the corner as RP is able to corral this ball and start a counterattack.
2 minutes gone now. 0 goals on the board compared to the 10 total that we saw. 7 from Tactical Whiffers, 3 from the Dogs, and Knight yet again keeping them alive in this game. Thanos been struggling. Luckily enough, it's not going to bite them in the back. We see Knight take it the other direction. Thanos with a good challenge. Naughty not enough for them to get off of the list. Potentials for getting a goal here. Thanos might have a chance, but they're not going to overcommit on this one. They go for it against Mermaid and forces them to give up the ball. That was so necessary because Mermaid could have put them in a very awkward position defensively.
Very awkward defensive position once again, as RP is air dribbling this ball across their own goal line, and they get bumped, nearly leading to a goal. And speaking of goals, there have been none. This is the opposite of what I predicted.
Every time.
My bad for that.
Time.
Yeah, a bit of a caster curse. You know what? I'll blame it on that. It's not my fault.
You just have to read between the lines that every single time during the TELUS Esports Series 2 in a best of 3, when there is a blowout, then there's a close game. When there's a close game, there's a blowout. It's just the universal common thread that we are experiencing here. And again, it just goes to show that neither of these teams want to give up their opportunity for the victory in this series, no matter where they are placing currently in their specific league and division. Thanos with a center. Gave it up to Moxie though, and unfortunate for RP, couldn't get a touch, but still worked out in the favor of the blue side. This more defensively minded play style, when they're not being forced to play defense, has worked so far, but also the shots just somehow haven't worked. That time it does. Moxie puts it through.
Does that count as another caster curse?
Yes, it does.
Talking about the defensive play style, and then the castle
Thanos
just collapses. That is tragic timing for you, and tragic timing for the Dogs. Is just an unfortunate set of challenges, one whiff after another. And finally, with only a minute to go on the clock, Tactical Whiffers are able to put one on the board, and they are back on offense already. Naughty rotating out, some room granted to the side of the Dogs, but it's lost ball possession. Oh my goodness, what a save by RP, and this could be a counter. Let's go.
When you least expect it, a goal comes out from the other side. The Dogs with the counterattack of the century, as we see that go from post to post on opposite sides of the field specifically, to put that one in and keep the dream alive for the Dogs. 40 seconds now. Thanos has been shaky at best, but got the goal when it was most needed for their team. Tries to keep the play alive. Knight, he got the first 2 goals for the team in the last game. Left it up to Thanos to clear out the gutters in that last one as well. 20 seconds might not be enough for them to hold on. Goes the other direction. We have potential for an OT. We'll see if it happens.
10 seconds left here. RP grabs a demo. They could get a center, but no, it's batted aside. Naughty hitting this into the corner, and it bounces high up into the air. Thanos trying to center things. However, he gets demoed again. We are headed into overtime. Moxie and Knight going head to head. This ball bounces out into the midfield, and Naughty gets beat. Mermaid almost able to get the save, but it goes in.
What was that? Right off the kickoff, it goes to the sidewall. RP with the shot, a boomer at that. Mermaid tried to get the save, just mistimed it by mere pixels. And it goes into an own goal situation instead, and what seemed like it was for sure gonna be a game for Tactical Whiffers. Instead, it goes the other direction, and it's a Christmas miracle.
How do you predict that?
You don't. You can't predict that.
Of course. I mean, you mentioned, hey, we have a close game 1. It's going to be about blowout in game 2. If we have a blowout in game 1, it's going to be a close game 2. If you go to OT, it's just going to be an immediate banger to the top shelf in it. How? What am I meant to do here, Vaudable? What are we meant to... That was ridiculous. The power, the placement. What more could you ask for?
All I gotta say is thank you, Rocket Gods, for making this a possibility. But it's still a possibility for either of these two teams to come out on top in this next game. Looking at the stats specifically, RP really stepped up to the plate for their team. 4 shots, an assist, and a goal. And the goal that, again, mattered the most when they needed it. Thanos got them there. RP finished it off, but they need to finish off the series strong. In game number 3, the Dogs are coming back, but will they let us down like the Georgia Bulldogs do all the time? Oh, man. College football, but we don't have to worry about that. We got some Canadian Rocket League here. As Tactical Whiffers, they need to bounce back even better than they did before. They only got a single goal in that game compared to the 7 in the previous one. See what happens in this next 5 minutes of play, plus a few seconds if we go to OT. That's the way things have been going for OT so far. Nobody's getting a connection, but there's no one there to counter it and take advantage of that mistake.
I was just thinking, literally anything could happen. Oh my goodness, what an angle from Thanos, from the whiff on their goal line to that shot. What is happening? I mean, absolutely anything could happen in this game. There is no, in any given moment, any player on this field can just pull out some ridiculous theatrics and acrobatics on the field to just pull a goal from thin air.
I'm still reeling from that OT goal. That is a once in 100 series goal. You gotta see. I mean, it was so close for Mermaid on the read to get the save too, but it still did not work out. And we're already a minute plus into game number 3. What a way to end out the night and the regular season for the TELUS Esports Series 2. Regardless of who comes out on top here, we've had a great time these last 4 weeks of competition. Gonna have an even better time once we crown our victors. Give that $30,000 worth of prizing away this weekend, but also those 2 Xbox Series S consoles to participants in the TELUS Esports Series who also fill out that survey. I'm reminding you here yet again, you do that so you can maybe win a lovely console. But even then, 2 minutes almost gone and not a single goal, and I don't even feel worried about caster cursing that. Mermaid, though. I almost called it. I was trying to, okay? But it didn't work this time.
That was way too close for comfort. Mermaid, once again, trying to force something through. They put this on target, but it's a little light. Thanos trying to put it past Naughty, and they do so. Moxie, last person back. And they are able to get this ball out of the corner, trying to pop it into the midfield for a teammate, but no one's there quite yet. Naughty off the back wall. Mermaid's going to be up in the air for this, nearly beating out everyone, but the bounce is a little bit awkward for Naughty. Possession maintained for Tactical Whiffer, with a string of offense put to a halt momentarily. RP with an aerial, however, it's a little awkward, and that gives Mermaid a chance to put this on target, and with half the game gone, finally, a lead is granted to Tactical Whiffer.
I mentioned it in the previous game. If they shut down Mermaid, they were going to win, or at least have it be tied, and it did go to OT. So, seems like that was a solid assessment of the Tactical Whiffers team. But now that Mermaid is back online, got that first goal right past the halfway point of this game, might be all she wrote for the Dogs today. There's still plenty of time, though, for them to come back by the single goal. We've seen it happen in the previous game. Can it happen twice? Naughty looking to do what they can to keep the momentum moving forward on offense. RP, man of the hour on offense for the overtime situation we just witnessed mere moments ago. Mermaid, not much to worry about with that challenge, but an odd position to find themselves in. Baiting out the attackers on the dog. Nobody's home. Thanos can't get possession of the ball. Mermaid's got a free open shot, but Thanos gets back in time.
There were so many chances for both teams there. A midfield pass that almost led to a scoring opportunity was just a little bit off, and it gets cut off and leads to an immediate counterattack that could have been lethal. Now Thanos putting this off the back while the shot not on target, but RP is able to circle back in and play this towards the center. Moxie on the ball, trying to get a shot off. Knocked aside by Thanos. Thanos could have a shot here, trying to put it on target. It's off. RP unable to get the follow-up, and that leaves Knights to try and finish the job. They're unable to do so, and Moxie is up on the back wall, desperate to get a clear as a pinch occurs and sends his ball spiraling towards the blue end.
Less than a minute to go. RP with a close one in the chat because it goes right over top of their box yet again. Just happened far too many times for comfort in this series thus far. The demo comes out, though. Those have been missing so far. Ooh. And again, the ball travels so far, but not into the net far enough for a second comfortable goal for the Tactical Whiffers. Less than 20 seconds to go now. Knight has an opportunity. Will it be enough?
Naughty getting beat out, and Mermaid unable. Oh my goodness, that could have been it. Mermaid just cheating a little too far forward, not getting punished for it. But that was so close.
Oh man. No.
Oh my goodness. I cannot believe it felt like the whole game was building up to that goal. I thought that was going to be it, but unfortunately Mermaid just able to clean up that tiny positional mistake in time, and they win this series 2-0 in the best of 3. I just felt it in my soul that was going to go in Vaudeville.
I don't know how we got to a third game there, but we still had a single goal at the end of it. Decide everything. And Mermaid being man on a mission. Doing their best to get the victory there for Tactical Whiffers. And that's all they needed at the end of the day was that single goal. That was a roller coaster ride of a series. That's been a roller coaster ride of a regular season for the TELUS Esports Series 2. But that's not all. We have 2 more days of competition to go. This week is not over yet for the TELUS Esports Series 2. So Trevor, why don't you run us through what to expect on Saturday as far as the schedule is going for all of the divisions and everyone who's competing for those?
Absolutely. I mean, starting on Saturday, we got the playoffs starting at 11 a.m. EST. However, the stream is going to be starting at 1 p.m. EST. That is going to be the beginner upper finals. At 1:45, we've got scheduled the beginner lower finals. 2:15, the intermediate upper finals. And at 3, the intermediate lower finals. 3:30 advanced upper finals, and 4:15 p.m. EST advanced lower finals. And to round things out for Saturday, the elite upper finals will take place at 4:45 p.m. EST, and the elite lower finals will take place at 5:30 p.m. EST. That is going to be a stream full of madness, full of incredible games, all the finals, all the action. It is going to be so much Rocket League in such a short amount of time.
Oh yeah. So that's basically the upper bracket matchup, getting one of the finalists for the next day of competition, and then the lower bracket matchup to see who joins them there as well. Then after that, on Sunday at 1 p.m. EST, we have the beginners grand final going all the way down the list to the advanced, then to the intermediate, then rounding things off likely at 4 p.m. Eastern, depending on how quickly things go, for that elite grand final, the $21,000 worth of prizing. Speaking of the prizing, we have to give a big shout out before we send you away for our final Wednesday stream of the TELUS Esports Series 2. Big shout out to TELUS, of course, and their Optic TV package, partnering with Xbox for Alberta and BC residents only there. HyperX and GameCon Canada for helping provide prizing for this event and for the playoffs for the top teams who come out of those matches. So on Sunday, all those teams that you see there guaranteed to go home with something. We'll talk a bit more about what those prizes are when we get to that competition. Also got to give a big shout out to one of our presenting sponsors, Nanoleaf. Make your home a lot smarter and a lot brighter. I mean, that's my little slogan for them, but of course, they have their own, and let me tell it to you real quick one final time before we send you away as well. They're changing the world with the most innovative smart home solutions that transform ordinary experiences into extraordinary ones. So definitely, if you're looking to have some customization to your background, if you're a streamer, if you're just like some cool lights that you can change and do whatever else you really want with them, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. But that is all she wrote for us tonight. And again, we will be seeing you on Saturday, 1 p.m. EST for the beginning of the TELUS Esports Series 2 playoffs.